were telling me this is from your time, huh?
Absolutely.
Armand.
Armand.
He's a great guy. He's a
Asante.
wonderful guy, man.
Is he Cuban?
No, he's from New York, and his family is Italian. His first name was Armando. He took away the O.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 40, I'm 1971, so he was, back then, movies and TV was a great part of your life, especially if you grew up in New York, the cold weather and the Bronx. Great neighborhood.
He's from that area, and he is, he did Gotti. He did the movie Gotti.
Wonderful movie.
I met him when he did Mambo Kings, and we did the cover story on him in Mambo Kings, and I was starstruck. I was a young kid. He was the nicest guy you can ever meet. Gave me his home number and said, let's just stay in touch. And we have. And every time he comes to Miami, we go out and we did another cover for him for the anniversary of the movie and everything.
So the magazines, and plus your both of you have the love of cigars, correct? I've seen him.
He's got a cigar brand himself.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, and he smokes cigars. Him and I went to Vegas together, as a matter of fact.
I saw the pictures.
Yeah, and I got to introduce him to Arturo Sandoval, who did the music for Mambo Kings. They had never met.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
20-something years later.
Well, he seems like a down-to-earth guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
so he's great. He's great.
I'm just, he did quite a few. He was also in the movie with, in the movie with Denzel Washington and
American Gangster.
American Gangster.
He was in Hoffa. He's done a million things. To me, he's one of the best actors, and I'm biased because he's just a super guy. I was just with him a month ago.
I
here in Miami.
remember growing up, I had a poster in my room of, I believe it was Goodfellas. And I remember my dad ripping it up.
Really?
No. We don't. This is not what we represent. You shouldn't idolize this type of movies. He likes the mafia movies, but he was always a hardworking immigrant who didn't want to have a bad name. He didn't want that image of all Italians, immigrants are into that. So it was a tough love upbringing. But
Beto, you have Italian and Argentinian.
Absolutely.
How does that? Explain that one to me.
Well, if you ever been to Argentina, they think they're Europeans, but they really are South Americans. But the thing is, so many immigrants are there. There's so many. I want to say. I mean, I don't want to invent something, but I want to say a good 30 or 35% of the populations are of Italian descent and Spaniards. Those are the biggest. There's a joke that they say that this Argentinian couple goes on their honeymoon to Italy. And I don't know why they look at the phone book, and when they look at the phone book, the husband says to the wife, says, "Wow, there's so many Argentinians here in Italy," because of the last names. It's unbelievable.
It's funny.
So my dad's to trace back very easily. It's my dad's mom is Croatian.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, she was born in Croatia. She's just a beautiful race of hardworking Europeans who had it really hard. Yugoslavia itself had it really hard, and so she was right across from Trieste. There's a story she used to say they used to cross a bridge from her town, a little bridge, to go buy kerosene for the lamps and whatnot, whatever they use with kerosene, and they would go to Trieste, which is Italy, right across. It was just a walking distance. And there was an Italian colony there. Her parents were fishermen, and they immigrated when she was 3 years old to Italy. That's where my grandmother meets my grandfather, my dad's father. He was a Spaniard living in Italy from the age 14. So he was born in Spain. So our last name is Gonzalez Di Carlo Roncini.
Really?
So we have a Spanish last name as well. That I use the Di Carlo, and the reason I do that is because of the restaurant, So automatically, I don't know why. Not now, maybe, but I remember Gonzalez being more looked at as a Mexican name or something. Not so much of a Spanish name.
Right.
Who knows why? So I would use the Gonzalez last name for my first years in the restaurant business, and I was always asked, why would I have an Italian restaurant when I was Mexican or Spanish? So instead of explaining all that, I just changed the last name to Di Carlo, which is also in my family. And then they immigrated. My dad was born in Italy, and so was my mom, and they immigrated to Argentina at a young age. My dad was about 12 years old, and actually the picture of Fratellino's, the picture that represents us on our business card, that's my dad on the left, and my uncle, his little brother, which that's what Fratellino means. It means little brother, baby brother.
Is that right?
Yeah. So I believe it comes from fraternity, the word somewhere, and they immigrated to Argentina, and in a social club my parents met, in a dance.
No kidding. Young
teenagers. Yes. And then when my grandfather passed, he came to America. We had a great uncle in New York, a Yugoslavian great uncle. His great uncle, that said he owned a restaurant in New York in the Bronx. He owned a very famous restaurant, and he was offering my dad a job. So when my dad arrives, the guy was a dishwasher there, and he actually asked my dad to go there so he could actually pass to the salad station
and put him as a dishwasher.
How
funny!
So it was a great scam that worked out at the end worked out for the best, because that's how my dad started.
From there, your father started got into the restaurant business from there, and then eventually he stayed in the industry, in the business. Huh?
Absolutely, but it's a great story. My father in New York, he becomes eventually a salad man, a cook, a line cook, and eventually he never had the chef position yet. He was a cook, a great cook, but not a chef. So back then in New York, we're talking when waiters were in a good restaurant were making over $130,000 a year. This was a profession. Yeah. You had to wait for somebody to die to actually
get the job.
Get the job of it's like a waiter at Joe's today. Yeah. There's waiters at Joe's Stone Crab that have been there for over 25 years, 30 years. So it was a great career to be in, a great profession. These were people not out of hospitality schools or anything. This is just a necessity and they were good at it.
Yeah,
they were professionals, the best.
It's part of their culture. When you come from these other countries, it's part of the way you were raised anyways. When you have this hospitality in you, it's almost natural. It's innate.
And plus, you were an immigrant. You didn't have a green card, so the restaurant would hire you. That was an easy way to get a job without having papers.
My dad, at 16 years old, came from Cuba, went to New York, worked at Jack Dempsey's as a busboy.
Jack Dempsey's. And he probably made great money.
And he made more money than the waiters.
Absolutely.
Just bringing bread and water, except he got into a fight with somebody at the restaurant, had a big brawl. They arrested him. He went in front of a judge, and the judge said, "How old are you?" And he was 17 at the time. And he says, "Well, you got two choices, or three. You go to jail, you go back to Cuba, or you enlist in the army and go into World War II." And my father says, "I'll do the World War II."
He did?
So my dad, the veteran of the war, yeah.
Brave man.
Says, "I'll go fight. Get me a rifle, go fight."
Hey, listen, you got an education out of that, probably too.
Yeah.
Well, this is my grandfather had a restaurant in Argentina. That's how the restaurant started, and my dad was kind of spoiled, he was a teenager. His dad did very well for himself, but always worked very hard. There's tough love. So my dad had to come to this country. He had never done laundry, had never folded clothes. He is a mama's boy in a way, but a hardworking mama's boy.
Yeah.
So it was a reality check here. So speaking of, I know you're Cuban descent, and that's how my father got his start in Miami, was thanks to, I want to say his last name correctly, Alvarez Guedes.
Yeah, the comedian.
Yeah, the comedian.
Yeah.
He would do shows in Jersey. There's a big Cuban population in New Jersey.
Of course.
So his manager, I guess, I don't remember the man or met him, used to bring him to the shows, I guess. They hired him, and then he would take him out to the city for dinner. So my dad, meanwhile, was a cook / chef, and Alvarez would go to this restaurant where my dad cooked, and eventually he asked to meet whoever cooked this fabulous meal for him. And he came out, and it was very funny because they said, "But you're not Italian, you're Argentinian," because my dad spoke in Spanish like an Argentine.
Yeah.
And they became great friends, and they stayed in contact.
Really?
And Alvarez was the man who told my dad, the future is Florida.
Yeah.
Come to Miami Beach. That's where all the movie stars
he
are.
brought him from New York.
Well, he gave him he encouraged him to come.
Right.
And with that friendship, my dad went. He packed his bags and he said to us, said to my mom, listen, I'm gonna go check out Miami, see what's going on there. And through his connections, he got a job at Tropigala.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's how he made made friends, he made contacts, and his investors were three Cuban gentlemen that went to Beach High, actually with Mickey Rourke. They went with Mickey Rourke to school. Yeah, they graduated around the same. Yeah. I think they actually graduated the same year, and they invested in IPA. They bought the Breakwater Hotel, 940 Ocean Drive.
Wow.
And that's where my dad got his first start, his first kitchen. To himself, he actually designed the kitchen, everything.
No kidding.
They just said there's no limit, no budget.
He was young, probably at that time.
He was 42 years old.
42.
Yeah, that's his first career. That's where and we have only Alvarez Guedes to thank for that my father never forgot what he said to him. He says, if you come to Miami and you win the Cuban community over, you win them over, you win their hearts. With that, you win their loyalty, and they will feed you and your family. It's crazy.
Yeah.
We're putting food on their table, but they would feed you and your family for the rest of your years.
Well, the Cubans are like that. They're very loyal. When they like something, they like it. They're loyal like that with everything that they.
My dad took his advice. He taught it to me. He passed it down to me, and that's what we've done. We cater to everyone.
Yeah.
But we owe everything to the Cuban community here in Miami.
Wow.
Thank God for
That's so cool. Beto, what a success Fratellino restaurant has been. I mean, what is it, 3 years now?
It's actually, we're going on 5.
You're going on 5 years already?
5 years.
Wow, I can't believe it. Time has flown, man. Wow.
Let me tell you.
But you were successful from the get-go, because I remember right off the bat, I remember a year into it, it was already hard to get a reservation at your restaurant. It was just phenomenal.
Well, let me tell you, the only advertisement we did was your magazine. You came to us and helped us with that, and let me tell you, so we owe you a lot. And I'm just throwing that out there because I really, now that I can thank you in front of whoever's listening to this great thing we're doing here. And let me tell you, I am so grateful. I want to say it on the record.
Man, thank you. That means a lot. But I have to tell you, man, there's no advertising in the world that would make a restaurant that's not great successful like yours. You whether you did Selecta or did nothing, to be honest with you, we had to back it up. You have to back it up, and you guys have phenomenal food. You have phenomenal service. Every time somebody goes in there, even the guys that work for you there, they all feel like you're walking into a family.
Most of the guys that work there, except one or two, are guys that didn't have a lot of experience, and that's what we wanted.
Good, yeah.
We wanted to train them
your way.
As you know, we only hire a lot of Cuban kids. They're young kids, and you know what the Cubans have in common with the Argentines and the Latins? We were raised with tough love.
Yeah.
We're not sensitive about being, told what to do if it's for the best.
Yeah.
These kids are a great bunch of kids that were raised properly. I treat them with love. And I always tell them on their first interview, I always say, we will treat you how you want to be treated, but we want the same back. We want the same back. You'll make good money, you'll work hard. Customers are always first. Yeah. We only own this place when it's closed. When that sign says closed, that's when we are the owners. And that's pretty much when it's empty. Yeah. And that's how we run our business. And we have to be humble. You have to put 100%. We have an open kitchen, as you know.
I love it. I love the open kitchen. I love to be able to walk in and say hi to all the chef and his assistants. I love to be able to say hi to them and see what they're doing. It's a great experience.
We were rated not long ago one of the cleanest restaurants in South Florida, and I'm so proud of that.
And you're like #1 on Yelp all the time.
We are. We want to, shout out to Yelp and Tripadvisor. They've been, it's a double-edged sword. But hey, let me tell you, it worked in our favor. Yeah. We just recently got a 2-star review. We have 1,045 reviews that I wrote in private back to all of them.
Wow.
Mostly good. They're 99.9% good, all 5 stars. But it's a combination of food, service, and atmosphere. We have a lot of people that come with high expectation. All these 5 stars. #1 on Tripadvisor, #1. Yeah, they think they're walking into, just for an example, let's say a place like the Forge.
Yeah.
You know, and we're not. So some people come with very, very high standards and high expectations of something. Then they realize 30 minutes in that we're all about the service and the food.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they realize why we get those 5 stars. It's because we win them over and they leave that restaurant feeling like family. And we back it up with some good food.
That's what it's like. That's what
back it up with good food.
Yeah, and that comes from those recipes. I know you have a lot of recipes that come from your grandmother.
Absolutely. My grandmother, you know, like I always tell people, we didn't invent lasagna. Our family didn't invent the lasagna. Yeah. We just have our family recipe of making it. Fettuccine, spaghetti, linguine. We're not creators of this. You know, I believe I believe the noodles were created by the Asians. Anyway,
right.
But we're just delivering our recipes.
Yeah.
And my grandmother in her storage had about 25 recipe books. They were all written in 3 languages.
Oh my God.
Yes, and Italian, and Spanish, and Yugoslavian.
Wow.
So I had to get some translators, and we got a lot of recipes. Our bread is one of them.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing.
Every time it comes out of the oven, I've been serving that bird 38 years.
Oh my God.
And I always take the little end, cut it off. Right.
The end is my favorite part. Yeah.
Likewise.
Yeah.
It's let me tell you, it's just everything is made with love. It's very simple. Our menu, you know, people tell us, you know, your prices are so affordable. You should expand. We don't want that. We came from when we had Ragazzi and Surfside for 26 years. You know, it was very simple. Then we expanded. I was young and greedy. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
You know, money. Let's make customers.
But that's a normal way. You know, most people have that. Most people in business, and especially in the restaurant business, I see that happen a lot. They're successful with a certain type of formula. And then they say, well, wow, if I can make this double the size, I'll be double as successful. Yeah. Now you start losing a little bit of that charm. You start losing a little bit of that personal family touch. And it becomes more complicated for you. At the end of the day, maybe you make a little bit more money, but it's not worth it.
Let me tell you, there was a little, when we had a restaurant that it's not worth it. It's not at the end. It's not. I didn't sleep.
Yeah, right.
I sacrificed, my family sacrificed. You know, I missed baseball games, basketball games. I missed graduations. Yeah. My kids were cursed with being born on Christmas, the 24th, the 17th, the 16th. So their birthdays, they never saw Dad. Yeah. Daddy was at work, unless they would come to the restaurant. And what would happen? Those were high season. I needed the tables. Yeah. I had to put a paying table there. Yeah. That's how we paid our bills.
Right.
I regret that. Only that. Yeah. My selfishness, my greed, if you want to call it, it's a disgusting word, but it's true. You know, I'm finally starting to be at 47 honest with myself and saying I would never do that again. I would not do it. It's done. I did it, but I do regret time with my family. Yeah, I do. And I have wonderful kids. Now I get to see him, Junior. Yeah. Beto Jr., who's working with me.
He's fantastic too, man. He's a chip off the old block. He's phenomenal. I love to see him there because he represents the restaurant and you and the family.
God has blessed me with their health, and God has blessed me with 5 healthy, beautiful kids. But really, they have great hearts. They're noble. They're authentic. They're all around good kids. Yeah. Yeah, I know you have 2 of those.
I have a couple of them.
Yeah. Wonderful, by the way.
Yeah, we are blessed. Thank you.
You are.
Thank you very much.
I had to call you that day. Your son came for dinner, and I had to call you back and tell you, just to let you know how lucky you are, man, because we have good kids. Yeah. And we're good parents that worry.
Yeah. right.
Hey, I tell my son is 24, and I say, you text me every hour and a half. I want to know what's going on.
I'm the same way.
You don't text me back, I'm going to come out looking for you. Yeah. Dad, I'm a grown man. No, you're not.
Doesn't matter.
You'll understand. Yeah. It's just when you know, I don't want to just go off the topic, but it's just I get very emotional when it comes to my kids because that's my life.
Yeah. That's why you do everything you do.
Absolutely. So well, listen, grandmother's recipes, amazing.
Amazing stuff.
Amazing. It was all so simple. that you can't believe it, you know, and you're like, how can this taste so
Most great things are simple.
good? Absolutely, I agree with you. You know, it's just that this is all I know. This is what kept me out of trouble all my life. I had no time to get in trouble. Weekends, I worked.
You worked.
Holidays, I worked.
Yeah.
My friends would say, hey, you know, you're 17. What are you doing? You know, I said, hey, I got to work.
You got to work.
I was 15 with my dad. I skipped school. I played hooky. I went to Beach High. My dad worked in South Beach, so you know he drove by the school every time on Alton Road there, and he would take Washington Avenue, you know, and make a right on Alton, and to Washington, and he would drive right by Beach High by my school. So me and a bunch of guys smoking cigarettes. That's what we did when we were 15. We smoked cigarettes, and we drank. And let me tell you, he caught me with that cigarette, grabbed me from the back, really sneaked up on me. Grabbed me by my mullet, or whatever you want to call that haircut I had, and lift me off the ground. Never forget that. This is we're talking, this guy is 6'3".
Yeah, your dad's a big guy.
Hands.
Big guy, yeah.
Crazy. Might have blue eyes, but let me tell you, he when he stares down on you run.
Yeah.
I didn't have the chance to run that day, and it was quite embarrassing, but it was a wake-up call, and he said, young man, your life is over now. Yeah. Now you belong 100% to
working.
Yes. And that weekend I started working, and I thank him every chance I get, and I talk to him. I say thank you for that day.
Old enough to drink and smoke, you can come to work, you know, and learn the business.
You bet you, and that saved my life. And
good.
And you know, just every day working hard.
That's awesome, man. That's incredible. I know that the restaurant from day one, the day I walked in, just got a good feeling about it. It has a lot to do with you. It has a lot to do with everything. And then the food, to me, it's almost addictive. We have to go to Fratellino's. What day we're going to Fratellino's this week, because it's, you know, I know one thing. If I'm ever in the doghouse at home, and I need to make up and everything has to be good, I just have to show up with ossobuco, spaghetti bolognese,
carrot soup,
or the carrot soup, or the veal française. Well, any of those things, I walk in and I'm good to go, man.
I promised your lovely wife whenever I had carrot soup, I would send it over. So I mean, apologize to me. I haven't done that in a while. It is a lunch favorite, so it's by 3 o'clock we're out of it. But let me tell you, I mean, I love when you come because I get to get creative, you know. Yeah. And just you don't and there's no menu for you. Yeah, and I
love it. I love to get there and say, you know, whatever you want.
And I think that's how we work the best. Yeah. You know, being a small kitchen, you know, we do about 150 dinners. We're talking about 3.5 turnovers on weekends. We only have 12 burners. Wow. 12 burners. I mean,
how do you do it?
You just how do you do it? And nothing's pre-cooked.
Efficiency there.
Except the bolognese, you know, but the sauce, some of the sauces, but everything's made from scratch. So they just, I've been blessed. I've been blessed with a group of kids. These are all Christian kids that don't drink. They don't, you know, for a kitchen staff not to drink alcohol, you know, that's a blessing. Yeah. These kids don't drink. They don't, you know, they don't do drugs. They're church going. They're just family oriented. I love it. I thank God every day for the staff I have, because they are just hard workers. They get here. They get to the restaurant, and I say here because we're right across the street here. Yeah. They get there, and
it's another thing we're really lucky about, the fact that my office is very close to your restaurant.
I think we're lucky.
I love that. I love that.
It's just I'm you know, everybody there. You know, my son who's running this when I'm not there. I get an extra day off. Yeah. I get to go on vacation. I have a great partner who is my best friend since childhood. Who always said, "Listen, we got to do something together." And I'm blessed with this young man. His name is Sergio Tarantini, great Italian guy who's not in the restaurant business, but he had the money when I didn't, and it worked perfectly. Wow. You know,
thank God.
Yeah. My wife refused to allow me to spend money on a restaurant ever again. That was the deal when we sold Ragazzi. Really? It was hardwood. This is you know, I'm very close to my first marriage, who's my high school sweetheart, you can call her. Mm-hmm. She's still my accountant and bookkeeper. She's the mother of my 3 older kids, and we have a great relationship. Always did, and probably always will. I took a chance on love again, and I met this wonderful woman who we have two wonderful kids together, a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old. And I had promised, it took a toll on me. When I met her, I was running a very successful restaurant with a full bar. And, anybody that knows the restaurant business, the inside, you know how tough it is,
Yeah.
You have a lot of friends that are there because of your restaurant. They call them, in Argentina, they call them los amigos del campeón. Translated, the friends of the champ.
Of the champ.
When you're the champ,
Yeah.
they all want to be around
Everybody
you.
wants to be around you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, you sacrifice your family. Late nights, a lot of drinking, and when we saw...
And it's easy to get wrapped up into that because you're saying it's for business and you're saying you need to do this and you really feel
100%.
responsible that if these guys are coming to your restaurant or people, forget about just friends, people are coming and they want to eat and they want to drink at the bar. You need to keep it open because business is
and
business.
They want you there.
And they want you there.
Have a drink with me. I mean, I'm telling you, Mike, I've had the same staff for 26 years. Yeah. Some new guys, but at Ragazzi, we were there for 20-some years. We had the same staff. When I was off, I would get a phone call the next day that something went, that the food wasn't good, that the service wasn't good, even though everything was the same. They wanted to see you there.
Yep.
They just, something, it's psychological. I don't know what it is. It's something. Yeah. So that kept me not taking days off sometimes. Okay. So I would give to a lot of my customers my cell number. I don't want to miss out on them, and they would text me. I'm at the restaurant, pass by and say hi.
Yeah. But you have that natural way also about you that you can't teach it. And you have this ability to make people feel at home from them. Just when you look at them, when they walk inside, you look at them already, and you can, and the feeling you give is this feeling of, I'm happy you came. I'm happy to see you come in. What do you need? Where do you want to be? So, and that's natural.
I guess it is.
That's natural. My mother has that in the magazine. Socially, she's very natural when it comes to it. I'm not. I have to work at it.
My dad.
I'm not a social. I'm not the most social guy in the world, even though some people will say, of course you are, because they've seen me after 36 years of working in the magazine. They've seen me become social and have to be social. And I'm not talking about, with the people you like and with your friends. That's easy.
Yeah.
That when you want to be with, what about the people you don't like? What about when the guy comes into your restaurant that has been a pain in the ass the last 2 or 3 times, that he
Absolutely.
returns food and the food's good, but it's just his nature to be that way. That's when you really get put to the test, and you have and you know how to handle that in a special way.
Well, yeah, I'm going to answer that, but first I want to say that you, Mike, I mean, what I see in you, that you were cursed with something which is a great quality, and it's authenticity.
Oh, thank you.
And and you are, and that's what you want you want that when you're looking at a friend. You say, this guy's going to be you want to know. My grandmother always say, it's best to have one authentic friend than 20 diplomatic morons.
Right.
Hanging around with you like leeches.
Yeah.
And so you were cursed with that, so was my dad. And let me tell you, it's hard for an authentic person to be not, and don't get me wrong, it's not hard to be social. It's just hard to not say what they feel.
Exactly.
And so the timing might be off for them, or in you in this case. But that's what makes you, and that's how you made yourself. And that's how people respect you. Yeah. And that's, I say it's a quality I would, and not saying that I'm fake. I think I could be authentic. I could be a diplomat
because it's
when
a natural. It's a natural way. It's not a fake way at all.
Yeah,
it's just a natural. My mother has it. It's a gift.
Yeah,
it's a gift.
It's a natural thing.
It's a gift. My mother can walk into an event with 800 people, and she can work the room, and she's not. She's not consciously working the room. It's just her natural way to go around being social with everybody.
Well,
to me, I'm not. It doesn't
I
come natural to
you
me.
You remind me of my dad a lot, and my dad would get pissed off at me for being always so happy. And so, now, how do you do it? He would get mad. He couldn't understand it.
Yeah.
Because
it's a gift too, man. That's a gift.
Outside the restaurant,
Yeah.
I'm a guy that if I get cut off in traffic, I blow a kiss at them. I don't want to road rage. I don't want to. I'm a peaceful guy. I mean, I'm not one of like, oh, you got a hair. I notice things. You got a haircut, I notice it. You lost weight, I'll notice it. If not, My grandmother, and I do use my grandmother a lot with her sayings, and I'm sure she heard him, but she raised me. That's why I mention her a lot. And she used to say to me, if you have, and I'm sure she's quoting someone, or when you have nothing good to say, don't say anything at all. And just try to keep quiet and listen a lot of that. I always talked. I had to get my timing right. I learned that with experience. Your timing, when to say a dirty joke, when not to, when to give time. And I learned that with the years that go, and so I'm intrusive without being intrusive. But I just, there's so much passion in me. When I see that customer come in, I want them to leave there. And that's when going back to when we first opened, I knew that once I had those customers inside the restaurant, I knew they would leave with an experience they had never felt before. Yeah. I knew they would taste great food, and it's not hard to find great food, but to find good service, it's almost impossible.
Impossible.
We don't add our tip.
It's a combination.
We earn it. We never. I had a waiter once ask me, "Oh, these people are German. Germans don't tip." And I said, "Listen, I'm not going to add the tip. Earn it. If they don't tip you at least 15%, I'll give it to you out of my own pocket. Mm-hmm. Whatever the bill is, I'll give you 20% out of my own pocket." And they actually left over 20% tip.
Really?
And I proved it to him that he had to earn it. Yeah. I said, do the best. Be the best you can be right now, and be the best waiter in the world right now, and you'll see. And obviously, I was on top of the table too, Yeah. So I don't want to. It's just I love. Like all my customers are putting food on my table. Yeah. This is how I feed my family, so I have to be grateful.
And you have a waiting list to get into the restaurant.
We do.
I mean, like if somebody wanted to get a table for Saturday, with no way, maybe next. I mean, how long of a list? How long of a wait?
If you call right now the restaurant, it goes straight to voicemail, and our voicemail, what it says is, we apologize for the inconvenience, but we are fully booked for this evening, Wednesday, and all the way through Saturday.
All the way through Saturday.
So anything starting Sunday, please leave us a message.
You open Sundays?
We do.
For lunch and dinner?
No, just dinner.
Just dinner.
From 3:30. From 5:30 to 10 p.m. So we do open 7 nights a week. Sundays is a great family day. Everybody comes early. We usually close the kitchen at 9:30. We all want to get home to the family. But it's we do get booked, but we don't like overbooking. That's going back to.
Well, that was going to be my next question, because I imagine one of the hardest things is you have so many loyal fans and so many loyal people that love to come to the restaurant. I mean, religiously on a weekly basis. Yeah. The hardest thing is when you're completely full. I mean, all your time slots and that, to have to reject people or have to say,
hard.
I can't, I don't have anything. I know you always do your best to accommodate and put people here and do what you can, but I'm sure that's one of the toughest things.
Well, without the outside, let's forget the outside seating.
Yeah.
And this time of the year, nobody wants to sit outside anyways. Right. Our maximum capacity is 36 people. So, I mean, maybe sometimes 6 reservations fills up your restaurant. Yeah. Let's say just 2 parties of 10. Yeah. And 4 parties of 4. That's it. That's 36 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So imagine 6 reservations filling up your full dining room.
And then you have to juggle that. So you have to how long do they stay? The next one, the next one, the next one.
Well, we always tell our customers, if you make a reservation at 6, we say to them, we need the table back by 8 o'clock. 2 hours is more than enough, and that's the only way we can make a little bit of an earning too. We need to make a living as well.
You need to turn the tables.
Even though we're not greedy, we haven't raised our prices in 4.5 years. And everything went up, but we keep loyal to our prices. We don't want to get greedy. We're still making enough to be happy. Yeah. We could be making a lot more, but sacrificing quality of life.
Something.
Yeah, always something
has to be
the family or whatever it is, and I don't want to do that. I'm happy with what I'm making. Have I made a lot more money? I made 5 times more money before in other restaurants. Do I want to go back to that? Absolutely not. I don't, and I'm not just saying, I don't. I make a very, very comfortable, healthy living. I mean, I'm not buying a house on the water, that's for sure, but I'm happy where I am.
Experience.
You know what I mean?
You've
I'm
experienced
happy.
all the things,
so
and you
we
know.
don't. And that being said, that's where I want to go to the reservations. We don't want to overbook. I can't take 20 reservations at the same time because everybody's going to sit at 7:30, and I'm either going to sacrifice the service or the quality of the food. You cannot rush good things, and I'm sure that's been said before. Because I know I've heard it before.
Fuente. Remember Fuente? Where does he say it? He doesn't say it on his thing, but he says, you cannot rush the hands of time or something.
There you go.
You cannot rush the hands of
well,
time.
I probably heard it from him
Fuente
or
cigars.
one of your
That's one of
magazines.
the things he always says. Yeah.
Well, you can't. You just can't. And people get... And I never use the word like... but I always say we're not a fast food restaurant. Yeah. So when we get theater night that starts at 8, and a lot of people, we get that first seating, I always tell people, come at 5:30 or at 6, but... you can't come at 7 and expect to leave by 8. We can't do it. We're not going to do it. Yeah. We're just not.
Well, from my perspective, that's someone that goes to your restaurant a lot because it's my favorite. You never feel, no matter what, no matter how busy it is, no matter how, you never feel like it's not the right time or you came at a time where it was too rushed or something got sacrificed. You always feel the same. You always feel just as good. The service is always great. The food is always phenomenal, and you never feel rushed at all.
Mike. Yeah, and that's what we want. And if you want to smoke a cigar afterwards outside, and this happened before. When I get there, I always tell you, Mike, I'm inside.
Yeah.
Anything you need, stay as long as you want. And that goes for you and other customers.
Yeah.
Whoever wants our good friend that we have, Manny, Manny, he comes, he likes to eat late. Sometimes I tell them, hey, we're not in Spain. Relax.
Cubans, man. Cubans have that Spanish thing.
We encourage that. I had a Cuban couple there. And let me tell you something. She's about 90 years old. He's about 91, I think. They go to the theater. They're members of the Miracle Theater here.
Right.
And they came with this wonderful customer that I have, Dr. Pelayo. A great man, great man, and he brought them, and he said they were friends with his parents in Cuba, and they know each other, for 60 years, or if not more, all their lives. And they came out of the theater at 10:15, and by the time they got to the restaurant, it was 10:30, and we had, my sign said closed. Yeah. And they said, and they felt, I just saw their faces, and obviously I weren't running to the kitchen. I said, we got 2 more customers, and I sat them down, and the greatest compliment I could receive from them was, you made us feel like we were important. Yeah. And I read an article, and this is the greatest thing one of the greatest things that I could relate a little bit. Which are the favorite restaurants if you're over 50? The ones they know you at.
That's true. That's very true.
Because, hey, they open in a lot of restaurants, hip, modern, this.
Yeah.
They don't want to see old people.
But the person that sits you down, just hi, hello, how many?
Yes.
It's
where they
I've walked
know
in here
you.
20 times and you still, it's hi, hello, you don't know my name.
It was great. I got chills when I read that. And Dr. Rappaport, a great customer of mine for 26 years, sent me the article on my cell phone. And I took the time to read it. And it was amazing. It was just, it made so much sense. Yeah. And this couple, they said, you made us feel so important. And they come from a very good family. They're very well off. It's not that I thought they weren't going to spend money. It's not that I didn't think. I just sent them. I wanted to make them happy. And that's their response was, not that it was good, not that they felt like somebody. They were important. You made us feel like we're humans. You
got them forever.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sure they've been back 100 times.
And they have.
Excuse me.
And that's what we want. We want people, no matter what age you are. The kids love us. We have that wall with all the drawings. Yeah. We make kids draw instead of being on their iPads.
Well, my daughter, when her boyfriend Ben comes, her fiance now, I'm sorry, comes, it's like, we going to Fratellino? If you want to go, he goes, I can't wait. I've been thinking about it for weeks, going to Miami. I want to go to Fratellino. That's another thing I was going to say. There's people that have come here from California, from Texas, that I've had meetings with. And I'm like, where do you... And I'm going to recommend your restaurant. I don't get a chance to. We want to go to the Fratellino restaurant we read about or we heard about or we saw. I said, you're kidding. He says, yeah. That's one of the things we want to make sure we do. before we leave Miami. So now your restaurant is like a destination, you know, a destination when people want to go to. My son, same thing, you know, he's got a special someone from his college coming down, Goucher College. He wants to bring somebody, you know, and he goes in and he, Dad, what do you think? Can I take him to Fratellino's? Can you tell Beto to see if, because I know it's hard to get a reservation. I go, I'll make a call, and you know, you always come through.
We are honored always. When you leave happy with a hug and a kiss, it just makes my night. You know, when I leave, the first thing I do when I get in my car, first thing I do is I pray. I pray for the first 10 minutes of my drive or whatever it takes to thank. And I always thank God for another day of I thank for my, you know, and I do. And I am so grateful to my customers that are so loving. And that it's just such a great satisfaction to have people leave there and say and read those reviews, or they tell you in person, I left there feeling like I felt like I was eating in somebody's home.
Yeah.
And I left there with a hug from the owner who I never knew, or the manager or the busboy, whoever, and I just left there and they gave me a big bear hug, and it's just, wow, I've never felt this anywhere. And that's a greatest satisfaction. I don't care if they spend $20 or $100. Yeah. We don't look at that.
In the world we live in nowadays, it's, you know, numbers and come in and go, and all these change and all these things. Well, when we travel all the time and we have to find places to eat, I'm like, let's look for little, you know, places where we can get something different. I don't want to go to the same restaurant that I can eat in Miami, or I can eat like, you know, one of the chains, you know, that's a big, you know, whatever, not to say anything bad about like a Cheesecake Factory and everything, because they're everywhere, but I don't want to go there. Yeah. Oh, is that what's opening here in the corner? A Cheesecake Factory? No kidding.
Bricktops was.
Bricktops was.
Yeah, Cheesecake Factory, man.
Yeah, I like the bar at Bricktops. That was I used to love to. If we would eat, we'd go and sit at the bar.
It was a beautiful place. Yeah. They turned the whole thing down.
You're kidding.
The inside, at least.
Wow.
I drove by the construction. The door was open, and I couldn't believe it.
We haven't even walked that way.
My wife's happy because she loves their strawberry cheesecake.
Yeah,
we have to drive to Aventura to get it. That's the closest one. So she's thrilled about that.
Well, there's a cheesecake in Dayland, no?
They even have one. Yeah, they have one in Dayland.
Yeah.
But I'm closer. I live.
You live up north in the beach.
Well, yeah, I live on 90, right off 96 in Collins, so that's about 10 minutes from us.
Yeah.
So we make sure once a week I get it for her. But yeah, we're happy. The more restaurants, the better. You know, and we look at ours. We don't look at others, but we wish they're in our prayers always. Every single restaurant, it's a tough business. Yeah. When we had the construction, you know how many businesses closed. You know,
not only restaurants. That was horrible.
It was a disaster.
And you guys survived.
We did. We had a backup plan, and we had a lifeline that we put away, you know, of money in case we had to use it to
always
pay rent.
Have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, you always for a rainy day.
You never know. You never know what's coming.
We were fortunate and blessed enough not to have to use it. We didn't. We had loyal customers that came to us and supported us through the construction.
Jumped over whatever they had to jump over barriers to get to you.
We had Alonzo Mourning, just to name somebody famous, just to explain what he did. The most humble guy. Yeah. Unbelievable. And there was a construction, everything. The only table I had was outside next to all this dust and barricades. Yeah. And he was like, I said, Mr. Alonso, let me, you got a famous guy there that you idolized as a kid, and you say, okay, hold on. So, Morning, let me get you a table inside. Give me 5 minutes. I said, no, I'm fine right here.
Oh, nice.
I'm here to support. He didn't say us. Yeah. I'm here to support local businesses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, wow. It was a great thing.
That's amazing.
And the guy made sure he got the most expensive wine and everything. And he said, "Here, this is for you guys in the kitchen. This is for you guys here." And he just and he's been a loyal customer since. But the thing, his wife had to come for lunch once, and his wife, and when he came, he said, "My wife told me how nice and humble you guys were. So we're here to support you on this. All local businesses on this."
It lasted forever. How long was it? Like right here, Miracle Mile, just construction. At least 2 years.
At least 2 years. I mean, it was. We were blessed and enough not to be able. We survived it. Did we lose business? Yeah, but we looked at it positive. We supported the city. Yeah. You know, we're in Coral Gables. You have to support your local government, your local city. I believe in that. Yeah. And hopefully they respond the same way, and they remember. We didn't go on TV screaming and complaining. we wanted to support. I'm sure they were going with a lot of. They had a lot of stress on them as well. You know, I mean, could have they done things differently? Sure. I mean, I don't know. I'm not an engineer. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I see what I see. You know, if you see two guys, if you're there for 7 hours at the restaurant, you only see two guys there
sweeping
all day. Like, what's going on? But then you have to look at the inside. So again, we were blessed. We thanked the city. It turned out great.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the city had their pressures too, But, the city supported us always. They made it very easy for us always. I mean, everything we did was obviously the right way. We filled out the right applications, but they were always kind and supportive of businesses in the Gables.
Good.
So we're grateful to the city. It's just been so kind to us.
Yeah. That's excellent, man. That's excellent. So you got to get back to work, huh? You got to go and Hey, thank you so much. I know we've been trying to get together to do this for a while.
And I apologize. And it's been on.
No, but it's okay.
I loved it.
We can do this again, though. I'm sure in a couple months we'll have more things to talk about.
Whenever you need me, I'll be here. And I love being here and spending time with your son, who's behind the cameras.
Yeah, he's the technician behind the scenes. My producer.
Job.
He's the producer of this whole thing.
You're truly blessed with this young man and your beautiful daughter.
Thank you.
You have a great family.
Thank you, Beto.
Thank
you for being here. Thank you for coming, man.
Thank you always. Okay. I'm grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching The Cuban Coffee Effect, where Cuban coffee serves as the catalyst for true and honest conversation among friends. If you enjoyed this podcast, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our page. Stay up to date by following us on all our social media at Selecta Insider DM.